everybody, I'm Jay Nesbitt, Nexgen Outfitters co-founder. Wanted to give you a little bit of background about who we are. So Nexgen Outfitters is hunt, camp, shoot. We have a really great bow tech. We have a fantastic selection of archery. All that goes along with hunt. Definitely a passion in this building for the hunt space. We think there's a lot of customers out there wanting to share that passion. The shooting sports goes right along with it. And then camp, not necessarily think on the beach, family camp in the summer, but more of that spike camp, hunt camp, base camp I'm gonna pack in, and the camping that goes along with the hunting that we do. A real small specialty shop is kind of where the market in the hunt and shooting space is going. We came, several of us, from big box, and I think frankly, when you grow fast and you get to be big, you just can't harness the authenticity and you harness that expertise. That's where I think we decided to take that leap, jump into a small entrepreneurship type role, because people are really craving that one-on-one personal connection. And we're still exploring how to do that in an online environment. But our local shop here in Sidney has been fantastic. We're happy to be here and help all those customers that have those types of questions. All of us had leadership positions in our last roles. So I think deciding to make that leap and what is our role going to be going forward as we tackle this. It wasn't necessarily a group of buddies sitting around saying, let's go do this thing or whatever. A little more planned out, I guess, than that. But we knew we're going to go from roles where we are kind of leaders and directing the traffic a little bit to we are going to be the doers, and we will have to wear multiple hats. And we really need to get with a group of us that share all those values and share that idea if we're going to tackle this thing. Collaboration in a startup can be a challenge because everybody needs to wear so many hats, and you can be pulled because of that in so many different directions. You have a customer walk in the door, that's obviously where your focus needs to be. And so then to come back and really make sure we're focusing on some other business things has been a challenge. I think some of our background that we have from our days at more of a big box, more of a corporate entity like that, kind of helps us out with that, because we do all have experience where you knew you had to come together every once in a while. You all kind of worked in your own silos and you march into the same mission, but you did all have to come together and make sure that you made that time to hear from each other, what's going on in different areas of the business and how can we complement each other. And now the part we really enjoy is that you don't have to schedule that meeting 3 weeks out. You don't have to go find a conference room. All those things that it took to really collaborate when you're driving a big ship. Now we can say, hey, tomorrow, let's come an hour early and here's some things we just need to talk through. But I think our old lives really prepared us for that. We are going to have to really make sure we're marching the same drum. I think looking back, we were really trying to think much, much bigger, I guess, than maybe we should have right at first. And maybe we bit off a little bit more than we could chew from both a, what are we trying to go do, and who are we gonna go find that can actually do that for us. It is really easy to go really fast when you're in a small business and a startup. Sometimes you can really make bigger leaps at a time when you slow down, think through, and really do your homework, really check out your resources. Maybe a little bit shame on us not for focusing a little more locally in how we were going to attack those problems. So I think in hindsight, one of the things we definitely could have done better was on our technical development. Maybe not let that play out quite so long before we said, I don't think this is probably gonna work. Let's make a little adjustment and try something else. We have a real passion and a real expertise in this hunting space. And I think our biggest challenge almost will be for a long time is how do we share that in an e-commerce environment with the customers that we're trying to reach. And that being the goal sounds pretty simple, but all the technology things that you have to go through in order to accomplish that goal has really been one of the challenges I think that we didn't necessarily see coming, We wanted to make sure we did have some technical expertise on the team, but there are really some tools out there and really some technologies that would help that out that was difficult for us to think through. Is it worth the money? Is it worth what we're gonna have to do here? You know, is this too forward thinking? Are our customers ready for that kind of an experience with us? And so that was one of the biggest challenges I think that we have had. And how do you find a technical partner that you can really trust? I really would encourage people to look more locally than you might think that you would need to. There was a lot more really technical talent available in our local community than maybe we initially anticipated. We really do have all the skill sets we need right here locally to help us pull this off. What we're doing here, this hunting passion that we have, is a family activity for all of us, and not just when you're in the field, but also helping those other people and developing those friendships that you do through all of this hunting interaction that we have. So our families have been so good about jumping in, and we've really all become one big family, and the kids are all really involved. We have them in the shop. They talk about it. They call themselves the Nexgen kids. It's a fun little thing that they just kind of have between them. And you know, some of those kids that didn't know each other that well until we got together, and now they've become kind of a good little family of kids too. We had a turkey hunt with them. I think we had like 14 kids on a turkey hunt one spring. Trying to capture all of that, we divvied them up, make sure everybody was safe, and we had everybody in good spots to try to have some success. And but man, when you've got 14 kids and turkeys gobbling, it can get a little crazy in the blind. Those types of things is what makes it all worth it. And those types of memories for our families, I think, is really what they draw from when it's time to really buckle down and it's my turn to come help, or my turn to sacrifice a little of Dad's time for Nexgen. And when you have those newcomers that haven't really experienced that the way that we have, and we can help them to go experience success, and not just success in harvesting an animal a lot of times, but success in how do you battle with Mother Nature, how do you try to outwit these animals, spending time with your friends in the outdoors. You know, there's a lot of different things you can call success in hunting. And I think, you know, anytime we see one of those people, just kind of that light bulb go off is really what keeps you going, and really what gives us that sense of satisfaction that we're really doing the right thing for people. We really find a lot of joy in that. But something that came up quickly was we really didn't see a backpack solution out there for the whitetail, just kind of day deer hunter. All the backpacks that were just for day use was maybe a couple pockets and just a big main compartment. And all of us had sat around one day saying, we really just feel like we're dumping stuff all over the place trying to find the gear we need. There has to be a way to make people more efficient with their gear, even though they're only carrying it a mile in and a mile out in a one-day hunt scenario. And so that was a place we tackled first, and something we really want to continue to do as we grow. That'll be what people will see from us, is new products. And our mission is going to be to solve problems that are common in the outdoors, and do it for an end consumer price that is easy on your wallet. I think some of the individual conversations and some of the financial risk conversations with friends, with family, with each other, were definitely important ones to have. And some of them didn't go so well. I mean, you've got to be ready sometimes for somebody in your circle to say, I'm not sure that's something that you can handle, and it's a great idea. You've got to be patient. You've got to understand that maybe there's going to be some of those people there, and use that as fuel, I guess, to keep your fire going a little bit, but also as a challenger of something that maybe you didn't think of. One of the things really important to us was that we had a lot of our own ownership, a lot of our own stake in it. It was important for us to invest our own selves, our own funds into that thing. So the first thing that we did was just literally talk through, what do we have available for personally, how are we going to put that stuff in here, and what's that going to mean to everybody? How does that mean for share of the business? You got to think about, talk through all those things, make sure everybody has the right voice and that none of the financial obligations are kind of murmuring those skill sets that you went out and deliberately found to really make yourself successful. You've put the plan together enough that you're not just chasing a passion for the sake of chasing the passion, but it's something that's viable, I guess. And we came back a lot of times to things that was going on in the news where we really saw that hunting and shooting market was really kind of being abandoned almost by some of the biggest retailers, some of the big box guys out there. And we just really felt like there was an opportunity for a smaller type business to really jump in and capture some of that market share. So I think that passion for hunting and the business sense that we kind of had for what was going on in the industry kind of kept in the back of our heads as we went through those tough conversations to say, this is something that's going to be viable. When you're ready to take that step, it means a little more to the banks and to the investors, if that's the route you choose to go. When you go out to really ask for some more funds, if you have already personally put in some funds of yourself and you've thought about how is that going to represent us, how does each person that put funds in going to be represented in the long term, makes a huge difference when you actually go then to ask for money from some other places. The other agencies that we were able to reach out to, and I think it starts for us at the I&E Center at WNCC, is the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. Department of Economic Development in Nebraska at the state level, Cheyenne County at the county level, Melissa Norgard at the city level in Sidney. All of those places just with tremendous support for us. I hope that a lot of Western Nebraska or all Nebraska small communities see that as an opportunity to not just wait until something bad happens to the biggest economy in our town, but that we all need to make sure that we're kind of watching out, nurturing those entrepreneur things that are going on out there, taking that risk and giving those guys a little bit of time. You get some people in the room, some of the people from the economic development, from SBA, all the way down to the I&E Center and Melissa, and I mean, you name it. They've all got questions that maybe we hadn't thought of, and sometimes it caused us to make a little adjustment in what we were going to do. And they're all looking out for our success because we're all trying to look out for the success of the community. And so we just really appreciate all the efforts we got. You think about all these agencies helping you primarily financially almost, but I think one of the hidden things in there is, as an entrepreneur, you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a day or you're thinking, maybe this isn't what we thought it was going to be. Maybe we got to really make a change or give this up. And I think the support just emotionally and that those agencies give you, I mean, on a bad day, it helps when somebody walks in. They might bring in a tray of cookies. They might bring you a cup of coffee and just say, hey, well, let's help get you past this little bump, and how do we get you back on track, make you successful. So I think not just from a business perspective, but from some of that just kind of emotional and energy support that those agencies provide was a tremendous benefit we didn't even see coming.